All right, so our first drive back was 0 human input. Let's go for another drive. This one will be a little bit longer at 16 minutes, but let's see how we do. All right off the bat, I can see that the speed is way too high for this parking lot. So it really failed to appropriately set the speed for the parking lot, which is what the Vision Speed Network's supposed to do. But it didn't get too out of control, so it still managed to get in the right place. Now it looks like it's waiting to make a right turn. There's another Tesla Model Y Performance over there. Alright. Should be able to go now. Oh, well, there's more traffic coming, so maybe it's not positioned very well because of how it came out of that parking lot. But by the time it turns green, it'll probably go. Alright, there's the green light. We got the Tesla turning in front of us. And there we go. We made the right turn. Now we got some parked cars up ahead, and it changed lanes out of there. That's very good. Next up, in 1.5 miles, we need to make a right turn onto Sepulveda. Good offsetting there from the car that was turning right. Alright, we see the car now lowering its speed. It's now getting into the left lane, which is not the best choice given that we've got a right turn coming up in 1.1 miles. Of course, the car is pretty skilled these days. I'm pretty sure it's going to be able to make its way back over, but in LA traffic, it's kind of a risk. You never know what could happen. Things could get pretty tight, and you might fail to make it over. So that was a little bit of a questionable choice, but let's see if it causes a problem or not. And so we're stopped here at the light. There's 2 more Teslas. I just see all these Teslas and think, oh, they're all going to be self-driving if they're not already. That's what's so powerful about this, about Tesla FSD and their pure vision system, is it really has the potential to transform our streets overnight and to have a big impact on safety just because the scale is actually meaningful. If you've only got 1,000 cars, then the impact you can really have on safety is kind of minimal. Because at most, you're going to put, 1,000 people in the car at the same time, or 4,000 people with 1,000 cars. If you've got hundreds of thousands, then you can be giving millions of people rides at the same time. And then it starts to actually move the needle on the safety stats. Alright, any minute now, it'll be our turn to go. And we can see if the car is able to make it over to the far right lane in time. Okay, I got the left turn, and cool. I see this car is going, and the guy to my right was probably looking at his phone. That gives us a good opportunity to change lanes. Let's see if the car will take advantage of it or not. Doesn't seem to be interested in changing lanes yet. That's not really good. I could tell it to change lanes, but let's just leave it and see what it does on its own. Really wants to give itself a challenge, getting over in a short amount of time. Across 1, 2, 3. It's going to have to make 3 lane changes in half a mile to get where it needs to go. So let's see if it can do it. Speeding up here, showing the blinker, and boom. There we go, 1 lane change down. We're now back to where we started. Yeah, that's right. Go for it. Love that. Alright, lane change number 2. Very good. And now we got 1 more. Very nice. With 0.2 miles to spare, it was able to make 3 lane changes. So it made 3 lane changes in 0.3 miles. That's what you like to see. Afternoon traffic, 5:46 p.m. No issue. Now here's the right turn. Quite a bit of traffic. So this can be a challenging right turn to make. I definitely remember in early versions of the software it was a little bit stressful with all these cars coming and having it try and find an opportunity to make the right. It was sometimes a little bit difficult. So let's see how this software version does. Okay, looks like everyone's going. Not really stopping at the stop sign. But of course we'll stop at the stop sign because NHTSA made us. Alright, come on, we can go. Go for it. Guy behind me getting annoyed, honking at us. And now we got a yellow light, so we're gonna have to stop. Overall, very smooth and comfortable. If anything, just a little bit too cautious, stopping or hesitating sometimes when it's clear to a human that it's okay to go. But, you know, cautious is good, and they always seem to dial up the assertiveness as they get more confident in the update as it goes out. So I think people are going to be blown away. They got 11.3.6. 11.3.6 is pretty good, but 11.4.2 is now going to start rolling out. People are going to be like, wow, I got this FSD, it's amazing, and they followed it up by another amazing version so quickly. There's 2 more white Model Ys. Alright, we're going full steam ahead. 2.4 miles until we need to make a left turn. Whoa! I was worried that guy was going to pull out, but he didn't. I think the car did a very good job there. Oh, what the hell is this car doing? Okay, so it's a little bit, you know, out of the lane. I think maybe it thought that this was an additional lane or something, but this is really sort of like pulling into the shopping center. But it did stop, and it looks like it's going to sort of correct itself there once it has the opportunity to move. Alright, we got a green light. LA traffic, man. So slow. Alright, let's go now. There we go, correcting its little mistake there. That's what I like, when it makes a mistake, but it just fixes itself. Because you're not going to be 100% perfect all the time. Even us humans do occasionally make errors. But we always recognize the error quickly and then correct it. So seeing the car also doing that, it's very significant. A lot of things that used to require a takeover, now it will almost take over from itself and just fix the error without you having to actually disengage. So that definitely contributes to reducing the number of takeovers that are needed. Alright, very smooth stopping. Again, using my referral code, which is at the bottom of the screen here. If you want to get one of these cars for yourself, it's actually insanely affordable. Here in California, you can get a Model 3 like this that starts at $35,000 after incentives. There's a $7,500 tax credit, a $2,000 state incentive. The government will literally buy you a new car, effectively. Or at least, you know, pay for $10,000 of it. Sometimes your utility will also give you an incentive. And you can get a great car, you can save a ton on gas, and get a car that can do most of your driving for you, like you're seeing in this video. If I was having to drive myself in this traffic, stop and go, I see some people commenting sometimes and they go, I'll never do a self-driving car, I love driving. It's like, yeah, I love driving too, but not this kind of driving. Not sitting in traffic going 1 or 2 miles an hour just crawling. I like driving, in a nice open road when I can really go fast, accelerate, enjoy myself. Nobody enjoys sitting in traffic. So get a car that can do both. This car can go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, but it can also take the wheel and relieve you of that pressure when you're tired of driving. So get a car that can do both. And there's no other product like that, right? It's either sit in the back seat of a Waymo or a Cruise if you want self-driving and just sit there and be bored as it drives super slowly, or drive yourself and just be carrying that responsibility for the whole drive. Those are really your choices with other products, but Tesla gives you the best of both worlds in a way that nobody else really can. You have a car that's really fun to drive, arguably more fun to drive than any other car, but you also don't have to drive it. And so it's almost not even fair to call it a car. It's more just like a robot. It's just a robot that you can just ride on its back and ask it to take you places, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Really interesting. You can see the visualization, how it sees this entry into the shopping plaza. It sees the truck, it sees the car. It's got the positions of everything all mapped out just by looking at it with cameras. Okay, looks like the light's green now. And we're crawling along. Let's hope we can make it through this light. Oh, nope, it's red again. So again, very exciting driving that I'm really missing doing myself. Yeah, I really wish I could enjoy the thrill of moving up a little closer to the light. Oh, I gotta get to bed. I'm a little jet lagged, but I'll try and get these videos out first. What else is going on? So Ford is going to be using the Tesla charging connector. Starting in 2025, they're going to start opening up more superchargers to Ford EVs in 2024. So this is a huge deal. Possibly a turning point for EV adoption in North America. EVs can now really seriously be a gas car replacement with access to the supercharger network. I mean, if you've got a car but you can't take a road trip in it, is it even really a car? Not really. It's not a car in the way Americans traditionally think of what a car is for, which is not only a city transportation tool, but something that can take you on road trips. So this is a big moment. And honestly, I think Ford should license autopilot and FSD. Because as people start to become aware of this, and they haven't really been aware of this because it hasn't launched until now, but as people start to become aware of what this software can do, nobody's going to want to drive any car that doesn't have it. Just like nobody really wants to take a road trip in an EV that can't support Tesla superchargers, nobody's really going to want to drive an EV that doesn't have FSD or something similar to it. And there is nothing else similar on the market. So I get that Ford doesn't want to give up, that they want to invest in their own Blue's Clues thing, but Tesla said they're open to licensing. Just give your customers the best. Give them autopilot and FSD. And you'll secure your place as the number 2, maybe even the number 1 in some segments just by doing that. And, it's a lifeline for them, really. They can survive and thrive if they put these technologies in their car. And I think the North American charging standard port is going to be really well received by their customers, because it's just going to really improve their satisfaction when doing road trips. I mean, Farley mentioned he was taking a road trip in an EV and his kids kept pointing out, hey, look, there's a supercharger, there's a supercharger. They've got the best locations. They put them in the shopping centers, near the restaurants, near the bathrooms, near the places you want to go. And it's really underrated. It's not just about the hardware. It's hardware, software, and services. And more than that, just really great site selection, really great ease of use. Ford customers are going to love it. And don't be surprised to see them just topping the charts, selling more EVs than anybody except Tesla, with this charging standard now added into their vehicles. Alright, and we're still in traffic. We got about half a mile to go before we need to make a left turn. And this sort of slow stop and go traffic, it just nails it, right? You don't even have to be worried the same way you do at higher speeds about something potentially happening. I mean, there's not really much that can happen at these low speeds. And again, all with computer vision, no radar, no ultrasonics. It's calculating the distance to every car and measuring how far away it is and how far away it should be to stop, just using the cameras. It's kind of an incredible technology they've developed. All it requires is those 8 cameras and nothing more. Alright, moving along now. Okay, the car's starting to think about getting into the left lane ahead of the left turn that's coming up. That's good, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it right now, given that the light's red, so nobody's going to be moving. But you can see it start to highlight that lane, and when the light turns green, I bet it's going to get over there. Oh god, we just barely missed the train crossing. That would have sucked if we would have had to wait for that. Some of these trains are so long. It's like, what the hell are you guys, shipping? I don't get it. And why does the train just go through the middle of the road? Okay, good. We got a green light. And the car... Oh, my God. It's red again. The joy of LA driving. Again, I love driving. No, you don't. Well, Yeah, so, the Cybertruck's going to be shipping soon. Ford didn't want to have a situation where the Cybertruck can charge its superchargers and the F-150 can't. I mean, trucks are serious business for them. It's their bread and butter, so they couldn't have a massive competitive disadvantage like that. And luckily, Tesla doesn't care about sort of building a moat around charging. They believe just increasing the rate of innovation is the right way to go. And so they'll open up charging, but now they've got FSD. And so people are going to look at the Cybertruck and they might think that looks kind of weird compared to my traditional F-150. But you know what? It's got FSD. It's the only truck that can drive itself on city streets. So that's going to be an extremely compelling factor, especially if you work in your truck, if you're driving around all day. You're going to want this functionality. And so they should really start putting it in Ford EVs too. Then it'll be a serious leg up on some of the competition, the Silverado, the Ram, as opposed to, something that's sort of a way they're falling short against Tesla. I mean, I don't care what other features you have. This is a big one. It's going to be really one of the most important things that consumers look at, I think. Okay, that was good how it waited for those cones and then went around them. Now we've got a left turn here, but there's no left turn arrow, so we have to wait for the traffic to pass. And let's see, now the traffic is passed. We're all clear, and there we go. So, yeah, I think FSD licensing could actually be bigger than the entire automotive business for Tesla. And it'll break every analyst model to have Tesla's earnings not bounded by their production, but just how many licenses they can sell at much higher margins, at 80% margins instead of 20. So I really want to see Tesla do this. And it just helps secure their data moat, make the system better, faster, and just make it that much more difficult for anyone else to compete with them in the area that really matters, the software. Alright, so now we're going to turn into this parking lot here. Very good. Okay. Now, very good. We have arrived at our destination. And now I just have to park. And we basically had another zero input drive. All I had to do was park. So we've done 2 drives since I got back to the US, and they've both been 0 human input. So this is where the software is today. Pretty amazing.